plan to close Graterford at that time. We are going to mothball it. And so the net growth of Graterford, which would have, of Eagleview, which would have 4,100 beds, we would lose 3,000 beds on the decommissioning of Graterford. So there's a net of 1,100 beds that we would be getting at that time. The last item is community corrections. The budget is listing 225 additional beds. That's not quite accurate. It is that that's the funding, except we moved up. Also, with the inmates from Michigan being returned earlier, we decided to increase some of our community corrections beds this year as well. And community corrections beds are good for the system in that the average inmate stay, there's some that stay shorter than this, and there's some that stay for an unacceptable longer period of time. But we're really looking for 90 to 120 days to be in there. So when you're looking at one community corrections bed, you're looking at, you know, pushing 3 inmates through that one bed, you know, over the course of 1 year, possibly 4 inmates into that bed. So the net increase as listed on the slide there of all these beds is $685 billion. As you can see, this is not a cheap process to add beds, but it is a necessary one to keep the system functioning. And at that, I'm going to turn it over to Mike again for the next part of the presentation.
All right, and we're going to just take a short break at this point. We'll come back at, let's say, 11 o'clock. All right? Okay, we're going to go back on the record. Gentlemen, you can continue with your presentation.
We're going to conclude our presentation by talking a little bit about safety and security. I think everybody in this room knows that safety and security are at the core of our mission statement. We need to ensure this safety and security of the general public that we serve, the staff who operate our facilities, and the offenders that live in the facilities. I think in this business or profession it can be safely said that oftentimes we're the victims of our own success. That is, as things progress and nothing happens, we kind of tend to be lulled into that false sense of security. And hopefully what we show here in the next few slides will demonstrate that the DOC is very proactive in providing our staff with the tools not to be lulled into a false sense of security, and ensuring that our staff properly use those tools. The next slide simply highlights the DOC's recognition as a leader in institution technology, staff personal safety, physical enhancements, and escape prevention. Since 2000, the DOC has spent $33 million in security upgrades, nearly $5 million alone in the fiscal year 2009. I know when I broke in as a young officer many years ago, and I guess the senior officers that we worked with oftentimes told me that the only thing you have here, son, are your wits and your whistle. And I hope that we have progressed further than that. Although we still have the wits, we have a lot more than the whistles. Technological improvements. Again, we're looking at using technology and our staff in a combined effort to ensure we maintain safe and secure facilities, and we reduce the chance of somebody breaching one of those facilities. We have an active technology committee that reviews technological initiatives on a national level, and we oftentimes field test pieces of technology that we think can augment our staff inside. Some of the technological improvements that we've made over the years are the use of metal detectors. We use metal detectors to screen both our staff and visitors as they enter the facilities. And we have, many facilities have metal detectors located throughout their facilities that offenders pass through with the intent of detecting any contraband. And these metal detectors are tested daily with an operational test piece that's recommended by the manufacturer of that metal detector. Of course, we've added more cameras both internally and externally on our perimeters. We've upgraded our monitoring stations. We've developed a set of standardized post orders at those monitoring stations to ensure that the staff that are actively involved in perimeter protection are working together and are interactive. We use a biometric identification system where both staff and offenders are required to enroll, and they process in and out of the facility with a fingertip on a scanning device. We use a device called an ion scanner, or an electronic drug detection device that scans for the residue of drugs. It doesn't necessarily indicate that there's drug use, but it does indicate that that person who was scanned and is scanning a positive result, that they've been around some sort of drug. And we use those a lot on our visitors and randomly on our inmates as well. We X-ray packages as they're coming through the mailroom. We use our heartbeat monitors in our sally port. And again, the heartbeat monitors are designed to detect the presence of a human being in a vehicle, but that piece of technology is only good as the person that's operating that he or she has to follow manufacturer's specifications on how to work it. And they also need to, and we do this, we conduct a physical search of that vehicle in addition with the use of the heartbeat monitors. And we've also, again, through the technology committee, we've started using cell phone detection systems throughout a few of our facilities, in addition to the canine units, dogs that are trained to detect cell phones. And everybody knows that on a national scale, the presence of cell phones in an institution are a serious matter, and we're doing all we can to mitigate the introduction of cell phones, the use of technology, and those dogs that are trained to detect cell phones. Some of the physical enhancements we have made over the years, we added cut-resistant window bars to our facilities. We've installed in our RHUs secure food pass-throughs to lessen the chance of an officer being assaulted by a substance thrown on him and her. The zoning, we divided facilities that were large and laid out. We try to compact them as best as we can through the installation of internal fences and gates so we can isolate and contain something that happens to the smallest area possible. Now, this slide is a slide of one of our large prototypicals. You can't really see it that well. You may be able to see it in your handout as far as how we've zoned this facility. We've cut the large yard in half, and we've installed fences throughout the facility, separating one half of the facility from the other half of the facility. We've done this at our prototypicals and our smaller institutions as well, again, to maintain zoning requirements so that we can isolate and contain incidents or events to the smallest area possible. Again, as I mentioned earlier, in this profession, when we screw up, the chances are very real for somebody to get hurt. With that in mind, we have done a lot over the years as far as preventing the possibility of a breach escape. Since the 1999 escapes, we have made many enhancements to not only our hardware, but we've ramped up our procedures. And we didn't have an escape until the escape in 2008 in Albion, where the procedures were in place to mitigate the risk of escape. However, there was some question about whether or not those procedures were actually in use. We had the presence of the heartbeat monitor at that sally port and the procedures to search trash as it was being processed out. Some of the renovations include the addition of additional razor wire particularly at those areas where the fences intersect. We went through years without the realization that those are probably our weakest areas where the fences intersect, and we actually beat those areas up by installing razor wire in a cascading configuration. We've upgraded some fencing at facilities. Again, we use the heartbeat monitors, the biometrics and IDPS systems, the additional cameras on our perimeters, and we do a lot of drills and exercises. I think that the most important skill and critical skill of any corrections professional is his or her observational skills. And over a period of time, again, if nothing happens, those skills can be eroded by complacency. So that's the whole intent behind the complacency drills as we measure and evaluate staff's response to a scenario that would involve their observational skills. We do many exercises, large-scale exercises that involve the outside agencies. We manage, respond to, and resolve any emergency event through the use of the nationally recognized incident command system. And we have a pretty sophisticated and lengthy system of internal and external audits to include vulnerability analysis, security analysis, and ops inspections. They're on a rotating 5-year schedule where, and I've had people bring it to my attention that they tell me that every time they turn around, somebody's coming inside their facility to do some kind of audit, whether it be a VA, an SA, or an operations inspection. But I think these things are an important tool that if we have all the procedures and components in place, well, then we need to get out in the field and audit those procedures and components to make sure they're being used correctly. And then again, the deputy secretaries, staff assistants, and the regional inspection captains, they're involved in the quarterly inspection schedule for all the facilities that I'm responsible for. I visit them once a quarter and review what's going on at that facility, basically. We have come a long way in our perimeters with technology on our perimeter fences. We use multiple dissimilar and redundant systems, and the perimeter components, what's on a perimeter fence or underneath the ground of the perimeter, will be determined by that facility's custody level. We currently use microwave system, varied sensor cables, fence protection systems called shaker systems, dot wire system, E-field, passive infrared, and all this is integrated through the use of our closed circuit TV capability. We have increased our perimeter patrols, and we have devised, again, standardized and interactive alarm assessment procedures to make sure that perimeter alarms are being addressed appropriately. And again, it's that marriage of the human element and the technological element that makes this pretty much a sound configuration. I think that human beings are better at doing something better than technology, and when we could identify perhaps the detectors on the fence may be a little bit better at noticing an alarm other than a human being. However, the human beings are better at assessing that incident that's causing that alarm. Our perimeter, our PIDS components are tested. They're tested daily by the security staff. They're tested quarterly by our electronic staff through performance-based testing. And there are procedures in place. Technology can fail. There's procedures in place to identify what steps to be taken in the event that there's a PIDS failure. We have currently funding approved to replace the buried cable systems at Albion, Somerset, Cole Township, and Montanoy. They basically, manufacturers tell us we get 10 to 15 years out of those systems, and they've outlived their life expectancy, so the funding's in place. The projects are in the design phase right now, and hopefully we can get those projects complete within a year or so. And we are working on the installation of a new Del Norte system at the SCI Crescent. In addition to that, Waymark's perimeter was upgraded in the past year.